People have a mistaken idea, and this is based on 27 years of hard battles of this nature between boards of directors and managers. At-will employment does not simply mean that you can simply fire somebody and that there not be any consequences. Yes, you may fire that person, but it doesn't come down to you just giving them a paycheck saying goodbye and they're gone. If you have broken the contract with them, if you have created a hostile work environment, if you have broken your city charter, there is the possibility, very real, that premature termination of this manager, in my experience, would run the city a minimum of between $150,000 and $400,000. I base that on my experience. I would see that a lot of it would go to attorney's fees. Usually there's a settlement that takes place, usually a year's salary, 18 months of COBRA medical things, and then if the mediating attorneys or the judge determines that the council was involved, created a hostile work environment, broke the manager's contract, did this, they can do punitive damages, and that's where it starts to get expensive, folks. So I want to urge the council members tonight to, again, like someone else said earlier, remember you represent everybody in the city of Trinidad. Take this opportunity for a breather. Take the mediation. Thank you.
Mr. Murphy.
A couple of weeks ago, I approached Mr. Pondo and I asked if I was the source of his letter to the editor. And he confirmed that it was, and I asked if he had written it. He confirmed. Sorry. Don't want to read my speech. 2 weeks ago, I approached his counsel, and I asked if I was the person that Mr. Pondo identified in his letter to the editor. He said that I was. I asked if he had written it. He said that he did. I asked if he had any assistance. He said that he didn't. In that, it described me as the root of most problems in Trinidad. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that this is probably one of the best pieces of a democracy at work right here. And those that think that this is a bad process, I respectfully disagree, but this is probably what makes our country great. Well, the next day I received an email from Jesse Manzanares, and it was a threatening email. It said, "Understand you are trying to prove that I wrote Mr. Pondo's letter. Be advised, Mr. Pondo wrote his own letter. You need to be careful here, JM." I took that as a very threatening email. I want to ask a quick question of everybody in the audience. How many people here know what metadata is? How many people know what metadata is? Not many people do. The source of the letter that Mr. Pondo sent to our editor came from Mr. Manzanares' computer. So the fact that he wants to say that he wrote this, it is in my opinion that Mr. Manzanares is now using Mr. Pondo and I believe Mr. Grego over here, because their letters are very identical, as human shields in order to have his own agenda. The people in the back there say that I'm the leader of this group. I'm only a man that will stand up and speak my mind. And I will tell you this. That man sitting over there and his wife right here are friends of mine. And I have a great deal of respect for him. And as Winston Churchill said, you judge a man by his enemies. And I hear him cheering. Thank you, Westmoreland.
Thank you for having this for everyone. I didn't write out anything, and I'm not a very good speaker, so try and bear with me. What I wanted to speak here about is my own personal experiences. I did sue my former employer for wrongful termination and harassment and violence in the workplace. And Mr. Bonato, at one of the council meetings, you asked about how much it would cost the community for the recall, and it was a couple of $1,000s, and you clicked your tongue at that. I appreciate that. I really do. That shows me that you're concerned about how our taxpayer money is being spent. Please understand that we're not looking at $1,000 here with Mr. Gildarubio. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what was settled with my lawsuit and with another lawsuit that came right after it. There's one lawyer that represents me and considers Trinidad, and I didn't mean to laugh, considers Trinidad a gold mine for wrongful termination and harassment. Please, please take into consideration every step you take here with this. Is it really worth it? It's our money, not your money, our money that is going to be paid out for this lawsuit. And I'm sorry, you're not going to win. You're just not. You don't have anything backing. You haven't even come forward and told the community why you think he should be fired, except for very vague reasons. It is an at-will state, and you can be fired by an employer, but you can't harass him, and you have already done that. Personally, you have harassed him. And harassment doesn't mean calling him names or leaving text messages in the middle of the night. It is telling him that he was not doing his job when you yourself did not read that package to find out that he was. So please, I'm just asking everybody, take a deep breath and do this slowly, and don't spend our money like this. It is our money. Even the opposition, they pay their taxes, and that tax money shouldn't go for a lawsuit.
If I could just say something to you, ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
You keep looking at me. I don't know if you're addressing me personally or if you're addressing
Yes.
the council.
Yeah, I'm addressing you personally.
Thank you.
I guess so, yeah. And the only thing else I could say, the reason I'm addressing you is because I have asked
That's
the
3
community.
minutes.
Thank you.
Lee Feller? I think I said it correct.
You got it right, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, and council members. I just wanted to come up here because 11 years ago, my wife and I invested millions of dollars in a business in this community. And one of the processes that we go through is every year as we do our planning and try to grow our businesses to ask ourselves, are we better than where we were last year or where we were started? And so as I look here tonight, I got to separate from my comments. I'm kind of confused a little bit because it seems like a lot of people have a lot of knowledge about why Ed is pending to be fired, and I would, in one of my comments, has a request for a list of those particulars. I would really like to see that. But, you know, as people today here in Trinidad are trying to refinance their homes only to find out that their value is 60% of the worth, when we look at everything that's going on, we need to ask ourselves, are they better off? And when we are still paying some of the highest utility rates in the entire state, and as we sat, at least for the last decade, and watched under the last city manager, as the city sat on its thumbs with no economic development, being sanctioned by the state of Colorado for our sewer, for our dam, which people still need to realize that is at lower capacity today than it was a year